All right, people, we're back. Season 2, episode 7 of the Nikki and Fitz podcast. Nikki, you ready?
That's right. I'm ready. I'm ready, buddy.
This episode and the recap of week 6 is going to be this is why they play the games, Nikki. Okay.
Right.
Some weird shit happened last week.
Right.
Let's start
In
with our
every
highs.
direction.
What was that?
I said in every direction.
Yeah, it was a great week to watch college football. Heisman Trophy update. Genti another 186-yard, three touchdown game. The guy's just killing people. I know the competition's pretty weak sauce, but he is
Right.
lighting people up. Cam
Yeah.
Ward 430, and they're winning too with him lighting people
Right.
up. Cam Ward 437 and three touchdowns and a comeback win over Cal. That's why I'm wearing the hat, the U hat, Nick,
Right.
repping the U.
Looks good.
And then Jalen Milrow, 310 yards, two touchdowns in a loss to Vandy.
Yeah, that's yeah, I didn't think we'd be writing that sentence. Oh my
That's too
God.
bad. That's a shame for Bama. Roll Tide. That's a shame.
Right.
All right, we'll get to that game later.
All right.
All right, give us the projections as they stand now, which it looks like it didn't hurt Alabama. They're still in it. So with that win over
Yeah.
Georgia.
So that they're in the eighth slot, the Alabama Crimson Tide against number nine, Old Miss. Uh, Seven is the University of Georgia versus number 10, University of Notre Dame.
That'd be a good game.
Yeah, yeah. Six is Penn State University versus number 11, Clemson
They're in.
University.
That'd be a great
Yeah,
game too.
right. Number five is the University of Oregon in the five slot against 12, Boise State. So that's a rematch of a real good game. The opener, I think, of the second game this year. That was a good game.
Yeah.
And then with the bye, you have the Utah Utes in four, the Miami Hurricanes number three, the Ohio State Buckeyes number two, and number one is the University of Texas Longhorns. Hook 'em.
Hook 'em. All right. So something dropped today.
Right,
National letter of intent is no
right,
longer no more.
right.
It is
But
now
it was
just
around for our both of our lifetimes. No more. Done.
one of my favorite days, a signing day with the and I with the national letter of intent. They
Right,
still were faxing them over as of last year, which I'm not
right,
sure where they found a fax, but
right,
it's being replaced by athletic aid and pay. It's basically pay for play contract, right? This is it.
right,
Universities are done. They know they're going to be the players are going to be employees, and they're just preparing for that now by changing this. The NCAA is becoming a big professional league, right? At this point,
right.
I mean semi-pro, but they made other changes, lowering the transfer portal from 60 to 30 days, which I
What do
think
you
is
think
good.
about
I
that?
I like that.
Okay.
I think 60 days is too much. A lot can go wrong in 60 days after the season's over. And kids got to make up their mind. And I think what's happened is with the 60 days, there's kids getting into the portal that aren't playing this year, man. That got in the portal last year. A lot of kids, like a couple thousand kids that got in the portal, lost their scholarship with their current school and never got picked up. So
Right.
30 days gives them a less of a window to think about it, I think.
Okay, that
Um,
makes sense. I agree.
t 10 days after spring practice, which is, I think, too short, but I guess they're like you either with us or against us, right? Kind of thing.
Right. You can live with 10 days. It's not
Yeah.
great though.
And then this 30-day window if your coach leaves is still in effect. So an interesting rule change is making them feel more like pros, man. Every day
Yeah.
they feel more
Every
like
day, right?
pros.
We're getting closer to a full-blown pro.
Yeah, that's what I think is going on, especially in football and basketball. I'm not sure about the other sports, but football and basketball for sure. Um, so as we started at the beginning, Nick, this is why they play the games. Four top
Right?
11 teams go down.
Right. There was only one top 20 game last week, which is Missouri at Texas A&M. Missouri got blown out, but that wasn't the story. It was all the other action with against unranked teams. So
So,
you want to take them one by one, or how do you want to handle?
yeah, let's start with Tennessee, Arkansas. I saw the replay of that. Um,
Okay,
Arkansas's good at home, man, and Tennessee tried to walk in there and think they could steal a W. And you
right,
can't steal a W anywhere in the SEC, as proven by Vandy, right? I mean,
right,
you gotta play. You gotta play. If you think
right,
you're gonna walk in anywhere, forget it. That's over with.
right,
Everyone's got dudes. I mean, some teams got more dudes, but if your team doesn't play to 100%, you can lose, no
right.
doubt. What do you think about the Bama loss to Vandy? Let's talk about that next.
So I didn't see the game, but obviously it's the biggest regular season upset this century. I mean, in the
I
25 years.
I agree, man. I mean, I was talking to some guys that we went to Penn State with, and we watched the game, the second half of the game, and we all agreed it might be a top five biggest upset ever in college
Oh yeah,
football.
sure. Oh, definitely, definitely,
I mean,
no doubt
Appy
about it.
State beating Michigan's right up there, right?
Right.
Um, I'm just trying to think of
But
some
it
major.
just it's just
uh,
it's just the two words, Vanderbilt University and the University of Alabama, and it's like whoa. I mean,
Right, right. The alpha and the omega of college sports. You know,
right,
one's a university that kids still have to go to class and shit. The other one is a football factory. So
right,
I am happy for them. From what I could see on TV, there was a lot of Bama fans there that left disappointed, but the Vandy fans that were there stormed the field, ripped the goalposts down, took it down to local bars. I mean, they
yeah.
they had a time with it, man. That which I was happy to see. I know you're a big fan of that tearing down the goalposts. You don't mind
No,
it.
man. Whatever Vanderbilt does is okay with me, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
they waited like 50 years for more than 50 years for a big win.
yeah.
You
I
know,
agree. I agree.
whatever you want to
Michigan,
do, go with it, man.
Michigan, Washington. I saw some of that game. I don't know if you saw any of that.
I was
Washington,
out there and I did see some of that.
what do you think? Washington looked pretty good, man. I mean,
Yeah,
Michigan, I thought would beat them. I knew it'd be a defensive struggle, which it was. They pulled Orgy early, right?
right.
Um,
Went
and
with Tuttle, I think.
yeah, I don't think that mattered.
Right,
I think Washington was just possessed. I think in the Big Ten, when you go into someone's house, it's going to be tough to walk out of there with a W, no matter who it is.
right.
Um, and so those are the Missouri Arkansas loss. Obviously, we talked about that. Miami, I watched some of that game, then I fell asleep. But I mean, they got no business beating Cal. They should have lost the game. They're down 20 in the fourth quarter.
Right, right. Yeah, it was crazy, crazy situation. But I mean, they did it. You got to tip your hat to
You move on.
Miami.
You,
They've won two
right.
games they probably shouldn't have won.
Right. You move on, you win, and you hope you're
Right,
getting better along the way because against better competition, which I don't know if they have. I mean, Clemson and Notre Dame maybe later on in the season. They're
right,
gonna they play like that, they will lose, right?
right.
Um, Florida may have a little life, Nick.
Florida does have a little life. I
Yeah,
mean,
I think Napier's figured out a couple things, maybe a formula how to win. I was happy for them. I'm not a Napier hater. I mean, I think he's going to get fired regardless. But
right,
at least he's shown a little fight here on the way out the door.
right.
Free Shoes does not have any life. They lose again.
Yeah, just so free shoes is our nick. We're adopting an old Steve Spurrier nickname for Florida State University. That's a team that lost 63-3 the last year in the Orange Bowl, and boy, the wheels just came off. I mean, they're nowhere, man.
They're done, man.
I mean,
They're donezo, donezo, and
yeah,
he may get fired, which I am shocked to say because I know they got him the long-term money, especially when he was
right,
flirting with Bama at the end of last year.
right,
And he went back in and renegotiated the bank deal, right? He got the big deal.
right.
So I don't know, man. If I was a Florida State alum or someone in the athletic department, I'd be pretty nervous if my program's going down the crapper.
Yeah.
So. But I think they banked on the wrong guys in the portal too, is what really happened.
Yeah, that's he they didn't really have a core team. He had a lot of luck. Like last year, he brought in Keon Coleman from Michigan State
Yeah,
and
he's really
Brandon
good.
Fisk from Western Michigan. And like you said, you can bring in a couple, maybe 10 guys tops. You
Yeah.
can't bring in like large scale.
He did 25
Um,
dudes this year.
yeah, it's not going to work. I mean, because guys, they're going to be 25 different agendas, and it's not going to work well.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw the Temple loss.
I did not. Can you tell me about it?
So Temple is down 22 to 20. Like a minute left in the game. They're at like the 1 yard line. They could just run down the clock and kick a field goal and win the game
Right,
23-22.
right,
Um, Instead they do the Philly push, the squeeze, the Philly butt
right,
push, whatever the hell they call that.
right,
The quarterback fumbles the ball,
right.
picked up and run for a 98-yard touchdown.
And that's okay. I mean, maybe it's just time to drop football.
No, no, they're getting closer. They
Yeah,
covered like I thought they would,
yeah,
but that's heartbreak. That's a pretty bad
right.
loss. That's a pretty
Yeah,
heartbreak loss. That's like Miami fumbling last year when they didn't even
right,
have to run the ball. They could have, so their running
right.
back could get 100
Oh yeah,
yards.
against Georgia Tech, right when
Yeah,
they
that was a
blew it.
bad L.
Yeah,
Ole Miss saw some life, Nick. They're back a little bit. Went
yeah.
down
That
to
was I
Columbia.
was shocked at that.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched LSU in South Carolina in Columbia, and South Carolina. Look, they had a stout team and a stout defense. I mean, like that fellow that Mike Loxley wanted at Maryland, Nick Harbour. You can see why he wanted him. I mean, these guys are big; they're studs,
Oh,
and
Nikki's playing for them this year.
he's playing for South Carolina.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know. At tight end.
I can't remember.
Yeah,
I
he's a
just
tight
can't
end.
remember. Yeah,
He could probably play receiver too. He's a big kid, but he could play receiver because he's like one of the world class 100-yard sprinters in the country. He's a
yeah,
fast kid. He's a DC kid.
yeah.
Nicky Harbor, we chased him hard, man. It was close,
Right,
and Shane Beamer dropped the bag on him, and that was the end of that.
right.
Um, but he'll be playing for
So,
Maryland next year when he transfers.
right.
And then I went to Penn State this weekend.
All right,
That
against
debacle
UCLA.
against UCLA. I'm gonna share some of the picks from that road trip. Another
Had good
back-to-back
weather.
road
That's
trips.
important in the state college because you can get some bad weather there, and it's not fun.
It was spectacular, the weather, Nick.
Yeah,
Spectacular. I was shocked how nice it was. All right, you can see it good.
I'm good. All
That's
right,
Brownie, one of our guys. I
all
went down with like 11 dudes in
right,
RVs and two RVs. It was really fun.
all right.
There's Brett and his brother. They're setting up the tent. There's Brownie and this guy's named Solosky, but we just started calling him Sandusky because he's a Penn State grad.
Right,
He was a fun guy to hang out with. I mean, he is a card, man, a card. There's Bobby McClure. There's Shanny. There's Shanny again.
right,
I mean, that's Bobby again. That's Sean Peenstra asleep on the couch. He's all hungover. There's
right.
Bobby eating breakfast. I made some empanadas for the boys.
Very nice.
There we are, tailgate of 7:30 in the morning. Crazy.
Stout.
Yeah, that's a crew there. There's Brett. Brett wore his Unslim Shady outfit. Um, there's Penn State's Gary and Brett. There's a tailgate that the first tail we went to with Shannon, his daughter. There's his daughter right there, the blonde. She's a Penn State junior this year, and her roommates. There's Shannon, his daughter there. It's,
Gotcha.
the boys just hanging out, drinking.
All right.
Yeah, it was a good crew, man. We got pretty boogered up both nights. Um, I wore Franco to the game because I
Oh, that's
just
cool.
yeah, I couldn't do a Penn State shirt. I couldn't, Nick. I
Right.
can't.
Right.
But Franco, a Penn State legend, I thought I was paying homage to them. Not Penn
You
State
did. You did well.
Franco,
You
but
threaded that needle. You
Steelers
got it,
Franco. Okay,
just right.
Steelers Franco. All right.
Right.
There's Brett with all the roommates. And then this is
Right.
the second tale, which is the Songers, a family that we grew up with around here. Our kids are all about similar age. Ian's gone to school, one of them, and that's Kathleen Songer and Brett. And then there's some of the dudes that were there. That's Maddie Songer and Jack. And then some of the moms got in there. And that's Mary Kate, her daughter, Kathleen Songer's daughter, Mary Kate Songer. She is same age as Ian, so she's a senior this
Oh,
year also.
all right.
Um, and that's her roommate right there in the mom's picture.
Cool. All right.
So their tailgate was great because it's probably 200 yards from the stadium. It's pretty close in the RV lot. Those are all the girls who live together there. Brownie and Dave Wagner.
Looks like you had a good time, man. I'm
Yeah,
happy.
man, I did. There's Joe
Mm,
Songer, Kathleen's husband, and their daughter. And then those are the three kids, all three Penn Staters, the Songers.
gotcha.
Jack is in the middle, Mary Kate's to the left, and then Michael's a sophomore this year at Penn
And
State.
they're all from Maryland.
They're all from Maryland, but they're both their parents went to Penn State.
Right.
So they're
Got it.
all on board with that.
You
There's
don't have much
Kevin.
choice here.
They didn't have a choice. Yeah, like I thought my
Right.
kids didn't have a choice, but they stuck it to me. There's
Right.
Sandusky. That's it, man. That's kind of the tailgate. It was good. It was a lot of
Good
fun,
trip,
actually.
man. Good move. Good
Yeah,
photos.
we had fun.
Cool.
Um, all right, so let's go over the picks for last week.
All right, but
You're
let's make it brief because I did really bad, the
you're
Badgey.
4-11. I don't know what happened.
Right.
I was 12-7. Brett was 9-10. He was talking so much smack this week and how he went 15-4. I'm like, I don't think so, man. Your lock of the week hit though, Nick. You're 3-3 for the season.
Well, to
Very
be
nice.
honest, it was your lock of the week because
Well,
the two of us together. Because I said we didn't. I forgot to do it 2 weeks in a row,
we're doing it
and you
this
said,
week. We're
yeah, and
doing
you said, what do you? You said it's either Georgia against Mississippi State or
Georgia against
Clemson and
Auburn. Georgia Auburn.
Georgia against Auburn. I'm sorry. Thank you. And the other one was Clemson against Florida State, and I was just like, man, Clemson's pretty good. So thank you for that one, Fernando.
Yeah,
I
no
tip my
problem.
hat to you. I owe you there.
All
But yeah,
right,
we're back on level ground, three
yes.
and three, 500,
Let's
which is
go.
better than being 0 and
Go.
6.
We got to get above the Mendoza line next
Right,
week. All
right.
right, Michigan State versus Oregon. Oregon 24-point favorite. Me and Brett took Michigan State. You took Oregon. They lost 31-10, but they didn't cover.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I watched
you
not a good game.
not a good game. Right? It was boring. I watched some of that
Yeah,
too from the bars. It
yeah,
wasn't very good. It was kind of a boring ho-hum game.
right,
Penn State 28-point favorites. I mean, they didn't barely win. They won 27-11, but they were uninspired. They didn't care
right,
about playing UCLA. Their defense is pretty good though.
right,
Um, you played the over, which didn't hit.
right.
Brett played Penn State and the under, which hit, and I thought Penn State would kill them. I was wrong. I lost that. I love that Pitt team, Nick. They just all they do is win games.
Right, right.
They won. You and Brett both picked UNC,
Yeah. I think
Missouri
UNC
A&M.
might be done.
Yeah, you took the under there, but A&M took it to Missouri, pounded them. I liked A&M at home. I thought it would be a nice beat down for them. I didn't think Missouri. I think they've been a pretender all year. They
That was a
barely
good
beat
pick by you,
Vandy in
Fernando.
double
Well done.
overtime.
Right.
Um, then this game here, Navy Air Force. Brett took Air Force and the under. You took Air Force. I took the over. 35 I thought was low. And it went over 34-7. Navy beat them. Beat them
Well done.
handily.
Well done, sir.
Thank you. Iowa at Ohio State. I took Ohio State in the under, hit on that.
Did you
Um,
see any of this? I didn't see it.
I didn't.
Okay.
I mean, it just barely went under. It's 42 points, 44 and a half was the over under.
Right.
Love Georgia here in this spot. I thought they'd come out and pissed off, and I mean they beat Auburn pretty handily. Auburn's terrible,
Right,
but 31-13 they didn't cover. Um,
right.
Ole Miss, South Carolina, we everyone liked South Carolina, and Brett even liked the over. It went under, and uh, and Ole Miss took it to him, man.
I love South Carolina. I loved him.
Yeah,
Uh,
9.5 point dogs at home.
right, right.
9 point dogs. I'm sorry. And then UConn Temple. I like Temple. You like Temple too. Thank you, Nick. And they covered, but they should have won the game outright if it wasn't for that
Right,
gaff.
right.
Rutgers at Nebraska. I saw some of this, but this game was so boring. I had to walk away. This game was a push.
Understood. I know what you mean.
You took the under though, so you won that.
Oh, got to win something, man. Didn't lost a
But
lot.
oh, so I'm sorry, Nick. Then you were
No,
five and
no,
11. My
that's
bad.
okay. I was bad. It's fun. We
Oh,
stipulated.
I'm sorry.
My picks were terrible. It doesn't
No,
matter.
you're five and
But
11. My bad.
all right,
Sorry.
don't worry.
West Virginia at
Okay.
Oklahoma State. I told you both liked Oklahoma State. I told you I
I
liked
love
West
not only
Virginia.
I love the Cowboys.
I know, and I like West Virginia. I thought West Virginia was starting to play better, and they
Right.
they blasted them 38-14 on the road
In Stillwater. Killed them.
in Stillwater. I saw the highlights of that game. They look really strong against them, man.
Right.
Oklahoma State was not there for the game. All right, we all took Clemson, the pick of the week. That hit. Me and Brett both like Boise State. You liked the under. You thought it was a lot of points, and they hung 62 on
By
Utah
themselves.
State, 62-30.
Yeah.
Yeah. They almost covered on their own.
Right.
UCF, you liked the under there, which hit. Um, Brett liked Florida. I liked UCF and the under, so I was 1 for 1 in that one. Um, Florida looked good, man. That's a good win for them. UCF is not an easy team to beat, and they
Right.
handle them pretty good. Um, Michigan, Washington, 27-17. Me and you both like Michigan a lot. Brett liked the over, which hit. He actually hit. Me and you lost. And then California, Miami. I know you said 12.5 was too many points. You were right. And I took Miami. I thought they'd kill them, and I was wrong, way off. So it was an interesting week, man. A
Well,
lot
you
of
did well.
weeks
Congratulations.
got weird, man.
Right.
Got real weird. All right. So the totals for the year now. You are
I'm putting my hands over my ears.
you're
I don't want to hear this.
48 and 53. You're below the Mendoza line.
Yeah.
Let's clean that up. I'm
Right.
72 and 42. Pretty stout. I think
Yeah,
that's pretty
very
good.
stout. Very stout.
30,
You're
30
being
games above
humble. I get it, but it's very stout.
30, 30 games above 500.
Right.
Okay, let's do it. Ready?
Right.
Coastal Carolina getting 9.5 at JMU.
Right. JMU lost down in Monroe, Louisiana last Saturday.
Did they
Um,
really?
yeah.
Nice. Okay, I didn't know that. I like Coastal
Um,
here. I think this game is, I mean, I don't know if you've watched the history of this game. This game is always tight, no matter where they play it. I
right.
like Coastal. I don't know if they win at JMU, but I think that they it's going to be a close game. Three seven
Okay.
point game.
Okay.
What do you like?
Uh, I'm going to take James Madison.
All right.
Maybe they just had a stinker last week.
Yeah, I didn't even know they had lost. I just know the
Right.
rivalry. They're the two best teams in the conference, I think, right? So
Right.
they always play each other tough.
Right.
This game's interesting to me, man. I'm not big on rooting against Maryland, but I'm gonna take Northwestern the 10. It pains me to do it. I thought it was
But
a single digit spread. I thought I would
football is
take.
football, but business is business. I
Yes.
understand.
If it was less than a 10 point spread, single digit, I was gonna take Maryland. But they just haven't shown me shit. I mean, I'm sorry. It pains me, but I'm gonna
Right.
take Maryland there. What do you got? I mean,
You're
I'm taking
taking
Northwestern. Sorry.
you're gonna take Northwestern.
Yeah,
Okay. I'm gonna join you there.
yeah. And Northwestern's not very good either, Nick. I mean, they're getting blasted by people.
Right.
Um, Utah, 6.5 at Arizona State. Um, so the line has moved 3 points, I guess, since
Yeah,
Monday.
lines moved a ton. Okay, so the Utah coach, I always get these
Willingham.
two guys confused. Willingham. He says, "Look, in the league bylaws or whatever, I don't have to disclose injuries, so I'm not going to."
Yeah, he's old
Rising's
school.
the quarterback. He's been he's had tremendously bad injuries. I think he's missed two whole seasons. He's about 25. He's a very good player. Um, I I think he's going to come back this week. I have no insight, no information on that, but they had their bye last week. I'm gonna take Utah minus the 6.5.
Okay. And I'm going to take the under there
Okay.
because I don't think he comes back. And I know
Okay.
they struggled without him before, without
Right.
him being there. And I
Right.
think and Arizona State doesn't have it. And they have a good defense, though. I mean, Utah defensively, they get after people, man.
Right.
I mean, they hit people. So I think it'll be a low scoring affair. So I'll take the under there.
That's a good pick.
All right. South Carolina getting 21 at Bama,
Right. So right. So now we're moving to the Saturday games.
Saturday, 12 noon. Yep.
Yeah. Um, what do you think about this game? Just
I am very, very confused in this game. Who's going to show up? The real Bama, the real South Carolina. 21 points is a lot of points. So I think neither of them show up. So I'm going to take South Carolina with the 21. I think they lose to Bama at home,
right.
but I don't think at Alabama, obviously. But I don't
Right.
think they beat them by 21. I think Bama might have some issues defensively.
Right. I agree with that. That's a good assessment.
So you like South Carolina?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Washington getting 2.5 at Iowa. What a great game this is, man. I mean, so the West Coast teams are bopping back and forth every week. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
I
I
mean, that
mean,
must be hard.
yeah, I mean, Cal, I read somewhere, like, you know how they have to send their equipment truck out?
Yeah,
Like, the equipment truck has to go out like Sunday or Monday to make it to the East Coast.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Let's hope they don't have ever hit any weather, or they would have a
Right.
problem.
Right.
So, what do you like here? Washington getting 2.5 at Iowa, 42 over under.
I'm going to go Iowa here.
Iowa at home.
Yeah.
After, I mean, Ohio State embarrassed them a little bit, I think.
Right. Right.
Iowa. Okay. Wisconsin getting 2.5 at Rutgers. Rutgers didn't look that good last week. That's a tough Nebraska defense. I like
Yeah.
Rutgers at home, Nick. I mean, I think Wisconsin's pretty good. 2.5 is basically a pickup game. So I'm going to go Rutgers here. 40.5 is the over-under
I agree with that. I'll take Rutgers too.
at home.
Yeah.
All right, the 3:30 games. Pitt, I mean, California at Pitt. I mean, there is no doubt in my mind that Pitt's going to kill them. No doubt. And I only say that because California, that's a team that's bopped back and forth, right?
Right.
Mean, they're like you said, what you just said about their travel schedule, but I've watched their schedule, man. They're in the East Coast or on the. I mean, how do the kids ever get acclimated to a certain time? It takes a few days, and then you're back
Right.
in the other time. I think Pitt
Right.
flushes them out, man. I love Pitt in this game. Love them,
All right.
and I like the
I agree
over
with
here
you.
too, Nick.
What?
I like the over as well. I think Pitt scores a lot of points
Okay, I agree with you.
on
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh.
Pat Narduzzi's team.
Can we talk about Pat Narduzzi real quick? I mean,
Absolutely.
he's got to be gone after this year, right? I mean, there's going to be some good jobs available, and he's a 10 years at Pitt. He's a good fucking coach, man. I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm not sure how he stayed 10 years at Pitt. I'd love for Maryland to have Pat Narduzzi. I think he is a program builder.
Yeah,
I mean, they don't have a lot of assets and facilities and big boosters at Pitt to win. He's
right,
winning on sheer football coaching talent.
right, right.
I like him, man. I think he's a good
His,
coach.
his father was a brilliant coach, and he is too.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's gone at the end of the year. I think somebody will
Right.
offer him a big deal,
He'll
and they should.
he. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
He's in the same position as Kurt Signetti. You know,
Signetti's doing it after 1 year, though. He's gone.
right. But if Narduzzi went to the right program in early January, he
Oh,
would
yeah.
do very well next year.
I agree. Okay, that's what you meant. Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Yeah,
He's a good coach.
right,
All right, Penn State going out to the West Coast at USC. They're 5.5 point favorites. USC is a home underdog here, Nick. Five and a
right.
half points. I don't like this. I'm going to go USC here. I,
I'm going to take the
I,
under.
you take the under 50 and a half.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, Penn
yeah,
State's good defensively.
right,
I think Penn State's going to be looking over their shoulder. They got Ohio State coming up at home, and I
right,
think they're going to crap themselves here. Maybe win, but
right.
it'll be a close game and possibly lose. Oklahoma getting 14 and a half against Texas, man. I mean, tell us a little bit about the Red River rivalry, because I know you read
So
extensive
this is
about it. You sent me a book about it. It's hilarious, obviously.
yeah. So, if you want to know more about the Red River rivalry, the culture of it, you have to buy the book Running with the Big Dogs by Mike Shropshire.
Okay.
Just don't ask questions, just go on Amazon, get this book, and you can thank us later because that has the whole cultural history of the game um, going back to I guess it was Texas is a big state. They're both oil states. Texas is a bigger, more big cities and all. And Oklahoma sort of had a good football team. Like when
Right.
the
Right.
president of the University of Oklahoma said, "My goal here is to build a university that our football team can be proud of."
They've always
Yeah,
been good at football. They
right,
had a few lean years there in the 90s,
right,
but then
right.
they got Stoops and then they started
Right,
winning again.
right,
Uh,
exactly.
I think this is a game me and you got to go to in the next
Right,
5 years. We've been talking
right.
about it, and I guess they're not playing in Dallas anymore. They are this year, but are they moving it to the home stadiums? I'd
I
heard,
don't think, I hope not. I mean, I think there would be a bit of a ruckus, a protest if that were to happen, because
yeah.
I think the fans of both schools like going to Dallas
So
for
this
the
is the
weekend.
road trip game of the week, obviously.
Right, right,
It's a bitter rivalry. I
right,
like Oklahoma in this game in Dallas at the Cotton Bowl. I don't think they win the game, and they may, but I do think that it's going to be close because this game is always close. Rarely is it a blowout, as you know. A
right,
guy who's followed this game intimately, you know
right,
this game is always tight, man, and the underdog tends to win this game. Don't ask me
right,
why. And then there's a whole thing about is Quinn Ewers going to play? They're saying he is going to play, but he's still kind of hurt. You throw in the Manning boy into this rivalry could be curtains for them. So I like Oklahoma here.
right.
Getting 14 and a half too. What do you
Uh,
say?
boy, I'm gonna take Oklahoma with the 14 and a half as well.
Yeah, it's a lot of points.
Right.
Stanford getting 24 at Notre Dame. 40 and 45 and a half.
I don't understand this one. I mean, I saw Stanford beat Syracuse in the dome. They lost to Clemson. They're not terrible. Their quarterback's young and not great, but to me, 24 points is a lot of points here.
Yeah. The spreads have been crazy this year. So you like Stanford here.
Maybe I like the under here.
Under. Okay.
Yeah,
And
I'm going
and
to go
I
with
like
the under.
I like Stanford. I think Notre Dame plays down to the level of the competition. And
Right.
they'll beat them, but I think it'll be a lot closer than 24 points. Arizona getting 5 at BYU. So this game I've looked into it a little bit. I like BYU big here. I think they beat them pretty handily. And I only say that because they you got to go into Utah. It's a tough place to play. Arizona's still trying to find themselves after their coach left. I just don't think they have it to win at BYU.
Okay, I agree with you. I'm going to take also beyond the Cougars.
BYU,
Yeah.
okay. 7 p.m. game.
BYU is
Florida,
favored by 5 there.
Arizona. BYU is favored by 5.
Okay.
Florida going into Tennessee, Rocky Top.
Okay, now so we're getting into the Saturday night games here.
Yep. 50
Um,
and a half points.
you know, like you're right when you say you got to give Bill Napier props. He doesn't have a lot.
He
But
does.
he's coaching the
He
team.
he does have a lot. Don't say that.
Right.
He's got plenty. He's
Right.
actually starting to. They're showing some life. I'm happy
Right.
for him, and I like them in this spot. Actually, I'm going to pick them. And I only the reason I say that is I think 15 and a half is a lot of number. That's a big number. I mean, they're not like
Right.
junior varsity or anything. They're like a
Right.
Division 1 major program. 15 and a
Right.
half points. Are you kidding me? I mean, they can only score 14 against Arkansas. I get it. It's on the road. But maybe people have figured out Nico, maybe they figured out their system. And Florida's pretty good defensively. They play hard defensively.
Right.
So I like the Gators here.
All right. I like the under.
The under. Okay. Yeah, it's 55 and a half is a lot of points.
Right.
All right, now we're getting to the little bit more robust games here. You ready?
Right. Ready.
Ole Miss favored by 3.5 in Tiger Stadium at LSU.
Right. Right. In Baton Rouge at Tiger Stadium.
Yep.
Um,
Under the lights, the mayhem that is Baton Rouge.
maybe I'll go with the under 64 here.
Okay. And I'm going to take LSU at home. I
Okay.
think the crowd's going to be electric for this game.
Oh, it will
And
be. Oh, you can count on
yeah,
that.
I think I think they play their best game of the year actually, and I think they beat them by 17, maybe more. I think LSU romps them. Because I still think Ole Miss is a pretender. And this is the game of the week here, Nick. Two top five teams. Ohio
It
State,
sure is.
3.5 point favorites going into Eugene to play Oregon. And
Um,
I like Oregon here, Nick. No reason, just I think they're going to play tough. I think they want to show the Big Ten that hey, we belong. We're good too. We got dudes, which they do. We got
right.
nail money, which they do.
Right.
We have a good coach. I like Lanning. He's a great coach, actually, which they do. And Ohio State in these big spots recently in recent years has not shown up for these games, even though they've revamped their whole thing. I like Oregon here in this game. If they lose, it'll be a 3 point game, and the 3.5 gets
Right.
me the win. 53 is the over under.
Um, I've seen Oregon play a lot this year. Um,
Uninspiring. I get it.
yeah. I'm going to go with Ohio State
Okay.
minus 3.5.
Okay. Oh, hang on. All right. Iowa State -3 at WVU. This is a trap game.
Yeah.
I'm going to take Iowa State here. I think they go in to Morgantown and win. Matt Campbell seems to win these games.
A
At least.
Saturday night game in WVU is tough.
Oh, it's going to be insane there. That
Yeah.
Donaldson running back for theirs is a house. I
Yeah.
mean, he is a
Right.
big kid. He's an NFL back. He's going to be a good NFL back.
Right.
Reminds me of your boy with the Giants, the guy that played for Miami. what was the running back that played for Miami?
Otis
Otis
Anderson.
Anderson. That's who he
Yeah,
reminds me of. Otis
yeah.
Anderson. Just a
Boy,
big
that's a
bruiser.
good one from back in the
Yeah,
day. Well done.
big bruiser. What are you thinking here?
I'm going to go with Iowa State minus the 3.
Okay. So I'm
All
I'm
right.
also going to take the under there too.
Okay. Good. Well,
53.
good pick. Well done.
Minnesota -5 at UCLA. UCLA is pretty much toast. Dead man walking.
Right.
Overwhelmed
Right.
in the Big Ten. Overwhelmed.
Right.
Mini, 40 points isn't a lot. Mini had a good win this week. Obviously, they beat USC. Um, UCLA back at home. At Mini coming in. I'm gonna take Mini because I just don't think UCLA has a lot. They look terrible against State College.
Right. You can't take. I mean, I'm going to go with mini too. I'd take the under, but the 40 points is not a lot.
No, it isn't. I think Mini scores some points against them. K-State -4 at Colorado. No respect for prime time, right? -4 at home. And they've
Right.
been pretty good this year.
Right.
Um, so I'm gonna take Colorado here. I think they have a big 10-15 start.
Colorado's a good team to bet on. I mean, that's a good pick. Regard, you
Yeah,
know.
-4. They're getting 4 at home, home underdog. I think they beat them outright. I think K-State's they're always decent, but Colorado has some electric players, man. I mean, if those guys show up and play, they could win big here, big, like they did against UCF.
Right.
And this is at home.
Um, I'm gonna just take a different. I'm gonna go with K State. I'm gonna go with the Wildcats here.
Okay, laying the 4.
Yeah,
Okay, and then
the late game,
last
the late night game.
the last game of the week is Boise State going to Hawaii. 20 and a half and 60.5 is the over under.
I'm gonna go with Boise State. I mean,
You think they kill them then?
yeah.
I'm gonna go with Hawaii. I never bet
Okay.
against the Rainbows at home. When a
Right.
mainland team comes in all cocky, I think Hawaii plays them tough, man. I don't
All
know if
right.
they beat Boise State, but and I'm gonna go with the over because Boise can score some points. All right.
Right.
Do you have an idea on the lock of the week? Lock it up.
I I do have an idea on the lock of the week.
Thank you. What do you got?
I'm gonna go with Ohio State.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with them
Wow.
getting a little payback from the game in Columbus 3 years ago.
Wow. Huge. That's a
Yeah.
big tilt too. That's not like a off game of the week actually. And
Right.
you called it the lock of the week.
Right.
Ohio State, good pick. All right, man.
Yeah. All
God
right.
bless. Let's go. Let's do it. I like Oregon in that game, but that's fine.
All
I'm gonna
right. No,
take
you know, you do great. You do a great job, man. I thought about that. I thought about Ohio State. I thought about Penn State. We'll see. You know, we'll see what
I
happens.
I really my lock this week. We're doing Ohio State, but my lock will be Pitt. I think
Okay.
they kill California, and
Right.
3 points is nothing. Pitt
Right.
scores 50 every week. All
Right.
right, so the RIP segment,
Right.
Louis Tion.
Special one this week. El Tiante.
Yes, yes. So I have a couple things to say about him before you get into it.
Fair
So
enough. Go,
Tion,
go, go.
I grew up as a baseball player. And
Right.
Tion was the way we pitched in wiffle ball. When we played wiffle ball in the street, we would take a wiffle ball, wrap it in electrical tape so it felt like a real baseball, got a little heavier, and you could
Right.
really move the ball, right? You could curveballs would break 4 feet, right? It would be
Right.
so. I became a pitcher like Tion because it does throw people off when you turn your back completely and come back at them.
Right.
They don't know what the hell's going on.
Right.
So I used to pitch like Tion, and then he's Cuban, so the Red Sox became Yato's favorite team. I'm one of my best friends from home
Right.
because he was Cuban and Yato's dad was Cuban, so they became a huge Red Sox fans because of Tion. And I
Right.
was a Reds fan. So the
Right.
75 series was a big deal. You
Right.
know, Red Sox against the Reds. We stayed up and watched every game. We'd order Anthony's Pizza at Yato's
Right.
house and watch every game to the bitter end, including game six, where we were up to like 1, 2 in the morning.
Right.
That's a little history with me and Tian. So go ahead, Nick, and tell us a little bit about Louis.
So I think, well, let's both do this together. So he was born 1940. His father, I think he was the only. I'm not sure. I don't know. But his father was a professional pitcher in baseball, in both Cuba and in the United States in the Negro leagues.
Okay.
And I tried to flesh this out. It might not be exactly right, but in 1961, Tion's 20 or 21 years old. He is newly married and he is in Mexico. And he calls his father and says, "Okay, I'm coming home for Christmas or to play ball or whatever. I'm coming home to Cuba." And his father says, "No, you're not." And he
Right.
says, "Well, why?" And he says, "Well, my feeling is this with this Castro takeover.
Yeah.
If you come back to Cuba, you're not getting off the island again."
Right. They're not going to let you leave. Right. Right.
Right. So he, I guess him and his wife. I think they saw his mother one time in 15 years,
Yeah.
and I don't think he saw his father until his mother and father came to Boston in 1975. So that's he was only 20 years old. So even from being 20 years old to or 21 years old to 35, not seeing his parents but one time and only
Right.
one parent.
Right. Right.
And as you said, he when he came up, he was a power pitcher. He was quite a pitcher. So let's take a look at one season. Let's take a look at 1968. So Bob Gibson had set the record all time 1.12 ERA.
Yeah.
Tion went 21 and 9 with Cleveland with a 1.60 earned run average and nine shutouts. Nine.
In a crappy Cleveland Indians team.
Right,
All right. They
right,
were shit. I mean, Gibson's
right.
Cardinals team, I think, won the World Series that year.
That's right.
Yeah. So
That's
come on.
exactly right.
Yeah.
No, Detroit. I'm sorry. Detroit beat the Cardinals
In
in
68.
16. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, And so then Keon is injured. He's basically done. He, I guess, turns from being a power pitcher to a pitcher who relies on guile, fooling hitters, changing speeds.
Right.
Why
Right.
don't you talk a little bit about
Yeah.
the
So
change?
he had his shoulder went out. He had it
Right,
operated on, and he wanted to continue pitching, but he lost a lot of velocity when that happened. So
right,
that's when I started to see him pitch in the early
right,
70s. This
right,
was in 72. So he went to the turn away style of pitching, where he looks
right,
away to confuse the batters, and then he'd come and bring the heat or bring, curveball, bring whatever. And
right,
to me, that's a guy who is crafty as shit, man. He pitched till 1981. I mean, it
right,
wasn't like he was washed up then. He kept winning games throughout the 70s, all into the
right,
beginning of the 80s. Um,
right,
Final stats, he's not a Hall of Famer, which is just crap. All right.
right,
229 wins, 172 losses, 3.30 ERA, 187 complete games.
right,
Unheard of. Right? Today's
right,
game, forget it. 49
right,
shutouts. That's unbelievable. Um, One game he pitched 14 innings, 280 pitches against Nolan Ryan, who pitched 325 pitches that game and went 13
Right.
innings. I mean, those
Right.
guys were horses.
Right.
Horses.
Right.
Guys don't go more than 80 pitches now.
Right.
90 if they're pitching a shutout, and they never go over 100 anymore. They're done with that.
Right.
So
Right.
soft. So,
Right.
I mean, that's who the guy was, man. I mean, in the 75 World Series, Nick, go ahead, give me his stats then for that
Okay.
series. It was
So
unbelievable.
game one, the Big Red Machine,
Yeah.
probably certainly one of the best teams of all time. I mean,
Yes.
um, so game one, Saturday afternoon, I remember it was the first baseball game I saw that I watched.
Okay.
And he pitching on again on doing throwing everything, just relying on basic knowledge. Pitched 6-0 shutout of the Big Red Machine.
Went all 9 innings. Yep.
Right. And then game two and game three, I think the Reds won that. They won game three on a weird Ed Armbrister catcher's interference type deal.
Yeah.
So there's Tion goes back out on game four, complete game win, 160, a mere 163 pitches, no problem, dude. Yeah,
Unbelievable, man.
right,
Unbelievable. I saw all these games too at Yato's house.
right, right. And then there's some rain outs in there, and he starts the best baseball game of all time,
Yeah.
game six, and he went 7 innings in that game.
Six earned, which
Yeah,
was, I mean, he was exhausted apparently, right?
right,
I mean, he pitches game
right,
four and game six.
right,
Usually it's 4 and 7 if you're a horse.
right,
He goes game four and
right,
six. He got hit pretty hard by the Reds.
right,
And that was the Carlton Pudge Fist game where he went,
right,
home run in the 12th inning.
exactly,
So a real character with character, right? A kind of
right,
guy that you could root for. And as a
right,
kid, a baseball player kid, a guy that we all watched and said, "Wow, look at that! That is something I've never seen
right,
before." And he
right,
became the windup for a lot of kids. For us, it was mostly playing wiffle ball because I was a pitcher, but I really was more of a shortstop, third baseman,
right,
second baseman.
right.
All right, man. Sorry about that, Louie. Hope your family's resting well
Yeah,
and your kids are
he was a
mourning.
fantastic human being. He's not
Yeah,
only
yeah,
a great pitcher, but by all accounts, he was a great ambassador for the Red Sox.
yeah,
Um, and he's one of the fraternity of great African American pitchers from the '60s and '70s.
yeah. And he
And
could have, and he stayed in Boston and moved up
right,
to Maine. He died with living in
right,
Maine,
right,
which is unbelievable. I mean, you would have thought he would have went down south, not maybe not to Cuba, maybe to Florida for sure, but he
right,
didn't. Um,
right,
so real sad news, but a great guy to talk about. Obviously, a guy that was
right,
part of both of our childhoods as
right,
sports fans. All right,
right,
lock of the
exactly.
week: Ohio State against
Ohio
Oregon.
State out in Eugene.
Oh boy.
Payback for the 2021 game.
All right, Nikki. Thank you. Great
All right,
show as
as usual.
usual. Um, I will talk to you this week. I'll be texting this weekend. It should be fun. I'm going to the Maryland game on Friday night. We should have fun at that as well. And then and then Saturday morning, me and Shelly getting up early with Sophia, my daughter, and we're going up to Philadelphia. Ian's, video coordinator for University of Pennsylvania for Penn. So we're going to go to the Penn game on Saturday, 1 o'clock
All
start.
right.
Getting up early and heading
Exactly.
to Franklin Field on Saturday
Oh, that's great, man.
afternoon. It should be fun.
That's that's great.
All right, man.
Okay, give
See you
us a
then.
report.
Bye bye.
Okay, take care.